Adapt and grow to supersize your business. Hell, nowadays you better adapt and grow if you want to survive and thrive, much less grow and build and supersize your business. Sharon Horne-Ellstrom here. Let's talk about this today. No Nonsense November, day 25, 11/25/25. Always a great day of the month and year when you get the 25, 25, 24, 24, etc. I get a kick out of numbers. I'm a numbers gal. So today we're talking about the importance, and I would say imperativeness of, if that's even a word, adapting and growing and evolving and supersizing and continually improving our businesses. And that means everything in our businesses, beginning with us. I know it's hard to admit that we are often the bottleneck in our business, but I've learned that every time I'm struggling anywhere in my life, but anywhere in my businesses, if it's a certain function or a certain area or a certain result we're not getting or a certain message we're not delivering properly, if I look in the mirror, 90+% of the time, if not closer to 100% of the time, the problem is something I am involved in or have created. I know that is very humbling to have to admit, but it's absolutely true. I challenge you today, and this isn't even part of the challenge, but I challenge you today to look at a problem or a situation that's going on in your business and ask yourself, am I part of the solution or am I part of the problem? I got something in my eye. That's part of the problem. Because it's important to always be, number one, self-aware and setting the example for other people that, hey, I'm human, you're human too. We should probably pay attention to how we're showing up in the business today and the impact that it has on our results. All right, so we're talking about adapting, evolving, I say continuously improving and growing. Because guess what? The world is changing all the time. Change is just like death. It's one of those inevitable things. It's going to happen to everybody. Whether we want it to or not, it's just going to happen. So we could stress about it and feel bad about it and worry about it and be fearful of it. Or we can just say, that's inevitable, so I'm not even going to give any attention or energy to it. Now, it doesn't mean you don't take care of yourself and try to live a good life and be a good human being. But it does mean that nobody's getting out of this life alive, right? So we want to make choices and decisions that are lined up with how and what is most important to us. Now, this requires, in order to adapt and evolve and grow and continually improve, it requires that we let go of what we're doing right now in some instances, or we are ever changing and evolving. And I'm a huge believer in continuous improvement. I would think that if you've watched me at all, you would get that's a core value of mine. Knowing that change is happening all the time, we must change in order to just keep up with it. It doesn't mean we have to change in ways that are uncomfortable for us, although all change is probably uncomfortable for us, right? But only if we decide to say that it's uncomfortable. I switched a long time ago from change being hard, difficult, challenging, probably because I was a change agent in corporate America for 25 years. And that was, our job as managers and leaders in corporate America is almost always about managing expectations, change, clearing the way so that we can get our people the resources that they need to do the job that they're hired to do. But that always changes too, right? How many of us have ever been able to live our life without being impacted by change? Just think COVID pandemic, right? How many of us either changed our business dramatically during the COVID pandemic or aren't in business anymore? Millions of people lost their businesses during the COVID pandemic. If you are not one of them, pat yourself on the back and give yourself a hand, because that's amazing. So what else do we need to do if we're going to survive and thrive? Not just survive, but thrive and grow and build and supersize our business as part of being more adaptable. And I say flexibility plays a role in that too. We have to keep in mind that speed beats perfection and that we need to take action. As soon as we become aware of the need to change because there's been a change in our environment, we need to analyze the alternative actions that we can take and then make a decision and a choice and take action immediately. We can learn of something and then not do anything about it the longer we wait. There's other people out there that will adapt to that change, and it's not a competition thing. It's just and not even a survival thing. It's what is it that we want? If we want to have a big, amazing, supersized business that makes a positive difference in the world, then we have to demonstrate some of these qualities and some of these things not only within our organization, but to the world at large, right? So if we are fast at making adjustments and changing and evolving with the times, and I think AI, and I'm kicking myself, I use a little AI, but not very much, to simplify my planning and structures and things. But for the most part, I find that I haven't trained it well enough to have my voice. And so it just, I can read everybody's stuff online, and I can tell you what is AI generated and what is not. And that's where I'm a little frustrated with AI, is people are not using it in a way to enhance their abilities and skills. They're using it as a replacement of their abilities and skills. It's becoming to the point where it all's the same generic, ridiculously worded stuff that nobody reads and nobody's going to consume. And somehow social media platforms and algorithms are going to start to ignore that information, and they'll downgrade it, etc. So make a change immediately. I talk about this a lot. When you know that something's changed, you need to respond to it, not react. Reacting emotionally, just like that, will usually get you in trouble. At least it usually gets me in trouble. We want to fail forward. Will we make the perfect action every time, the first time? I'm going to say, if you're super duper lucky and fortunate and incredibly skilled, maybe, but I kind of doubt it. If you've ever talked to anybody that's created anything big or amazing in their life or successful, you'll find that they, like me, have learned way more from the things they messed up and screwed up on than the things that went right the first time. And then be willing to adapt and adjust on the fly. Creating a Supersize Your Business community on the school platform. And I have adjusted my things at least 4 or 5 times. And it's going to be another one coming up here in terms of how we build and grow that community. Because it's fun. It's awesome. And it will allow me to simplify all of the things that I'm doing in one place on one platform. And to me, that's really exciting, because the older I get, the more I want to streamline processes. So our action item today is to think about one habit, one way that you time block, one system, one workflow, one anything, and ask yourself, does this fit with our organizational goals and objectives? Is it moving us toward what we want, or is it something that we just do because we've done it for a really long time? I think of, in my Italian food manufacturing business, every year, at least once a year, we reevaluated all of our standard operating procedures, all of our processes, all of our systems, all of our documentation, and we asked ourselves all the things we measured, is this still valid? And do we want to take it forward going into the next year? And if the answer was yes, we just did it. If the answer was, we've been collecting this data for 5 years now, and we have yet to do anything with it. Now, if it was a legal requirement or a USDA requirement or something, we just kept doing it. But if we weren't, I'll give you an example. We used to input all of our invoices, all the prices of each raw material and item and things. We did that for like 5 years into the computer, the hard old-fashioned way. I'm sure there's easier ways to do it now, but it was a ton of time and energy and resources spent and really wasted because we didn't make any decisions differently based on all that information. It just showed us that over time, prices increase, and it depends on what's going on in the economy and the environment, which we have zero control over. Since we had zero control over it and we knew we were going to need the materials anyway, we switched the way we handled those processes, and we didn't do the tracking that way anymore because it was an exercise in futility. Plus, some of our vendors provided us with that information because we just asked. By saying, do we really have to do this, or how else could we do this? We realized that we didn't have to do it, and if we wanted the information, all we had to do was ask our vendors because they were tracking and keeping track of things anyway. So today, look for something like that, something that's changed, or maybe something has just recently changed that's impacting your business, and think about and post about a powerful way that you can make a change today that will impact that. And again, you might not know if it impacts it powerfully until after you try it out. Any questions about this? Hit me up and ask. Otherwise, have an awesome day, and I'll, of course, be with you tomorrow.